also, I didn't appreciate how the cops painted Ted Bundy as a criminal mastermind. He wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was white. And they weren't looking for him.
God has abandoned us.
Men don't know anything that's going on with women.
Feminist comedians. 2 words that should never be in the same sentence, yet here we are. Have you ever wondered what would happen if feminists took a shot at stand-up comedy? Perhaps it would be funny, enjoyable, and even manage to make some of us laugh. Or it would be full of weak jokes with the main purpose being to spread a political message rather than make anyone so much as even chuckle. How do you honestly think a feminist stand-up comedy bit would go down? Newsflash, it goes down like a metal spoon in the garbage disposal. Loud, annoying, and all of us begging to make it stop. What's up everybody, Hunter Avalone here, and welcome to a brand new video. Today, we will be analyzing what happens when feminists try and do stand-up comedy, and believe me, it's absolutely terrible. Now I know that since I'm discussing the subject of comedy, I'm sure to get a few interesting comments. So let me go ahead and address those before you comment and make yourself look like an idiot. I know that comedy is subjective. That's why this video is my opinion that feminist stand-up acts are the devil. I know that the jokes I make on my channel are cringy and corny, but I don't label myself a comedian. I'm a social political commentator who enjoys cringy, edgy jokes. Alright, so that's that. Let's get to the video. There are a lot of ways to structure and deliver a funny joke. A good joke relies on pace, delivery, and most importantly, subverting expectations. This is when the audience thinks the joke is going one way, and then last minute, it changes suddenly. Masterclass says, humor takes what we know to be true and flips it on its head. I'm going to show you an example of a good joke garnering laughs while using the subverting expectations method. This clip is actually from a feminist stand-up comedian whose entire act was literally horrible except for this one joke which managed to make me laugh because she followed the proper formula. Take a look.
The scripted movie on Netflix, starring Zac Efron, written and directed by men, where they made the craziest person in that movie Carol Ann Boone, the woman who dated Ted Bundy while he was in prison. They made Carol look so much crazier than a man who murdered 30 people. And I was watching that thinking, Carol Ann is not crazy. She's just a woman dating in her 30s.
Alright, see? It was funny. Which is kind of sad, because it shows that some of these feminist acts actually have potential to be funny, but they're way too wrapped up in politics to remain consistently funny. I really hope you all enjoyed the decent joke I just showed you, because folks, it's all downhill from here. Feminist comedy constantly takes the preachy approach, where instead of going for laughs, they're going for applause. A big difference in the world of comedy. Another common approach feminist comedians take is self-deprecating humor. Now let me be clear, this in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, self-deprecating humor is one of the standard comedic approaches. Self-deprecating jokes can be funny. For example, if I said that I look like a skinny, fat, lesbian version of Edward from Twilight, only my eyebrows look like caterpillars died on my face, I don't know, personally I think that's kind of funny. But feminists don't take that approach. Instead, they use this self-deprecating style to instead invoke and further the feminist victim narrative.
When it comes to sexual harassment, every day women are going through an obstacle course.
I feel bad for the amount of true crime that I consume, but to be fair, women, we don't watch true crime. Technically, we study it to make sure we don't end up on it.
There was a man who came up to me after a show and said, I love when you're on stage how you talk about the fact that you're unattractive. Like, that's not what I do. Let's talk about being fat, it's not the same thing.
And true crime is kind of feminist. It's the only time the entertainment industry will take a chance on an unknown female lead.
See what I mean? This is all because feminists cannot separate politics from humor. Seriously, it's like watching a feminist try and run. They just can't do it. They always use humor to try and make some kind of feminist statement, which is fine, I guess, but it's really not very funny.
Ted Bundy were alive today, he'd be on his 3rd Netflix special. It would be his apology tour. Also, I didn't appreciate how the cops painted Ted Bundy as a criminal mastermind. He wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was white. And they weren't looking for him.
Get it, guys? Police weren't looking for Ted Bundy because they're racist. Huh? See how even the audience kind of laughed for a second and then just resorted to clapping? It's because when you expect to laugh and instead get preached at, what else are you supposed to do other than just, yay, okay? Even more so when feminist comedians aren't cracking super cringy liberal jokes, they just aren't funny.
Of Ted Bundy in the courtroom with all the police officers, and Ted was just killing it. That's comedian slang for slaughtering. He murdered in that courtroom. He basically slayed. He had all the cops just doubled over in stitches. And his audience was giving him way more love than you guys are giving me for this bit.
Get it, guys? Because Ted Bundy was a murderer. Honestly, the funniest part was when she practically begged the audience to clap for her. Yeah, this didn't go well at all, so quick, back to another cringy joke that's only funny if you're super far left.
Ted Bundy, also not an evil genius. Here's how I know Ted Bundy wasn't that smart. He was a Republican politician in Utah as he started murdering women, and if he were really ahead of the curve, he would have just stayed the course of politics, risen to the top, and then killed so many more women with his policies.
Well, talk about a one-trick pony. This is the final joke in her segment, and it fails in nearly every conceivable way. Never mind the fact that it's so overtly political to the point of being flat-out boring, she throws more of the basic joke-telling formula right out the window. Pacing. It was bad. This part is full of awkward pauses, eventually leading to the delivery. The delivery isn't clever, it's not funny, it doesn't work to subvert expectations, and it's really only funny if you share the same political views as this feminist comedian. Even worse, she just keeps going, which just further dilutes the joke and forces everyone to start searching for the punchline.
Picture a version of the movie Sliding Doors, but Ted Bundy actually made the train and then he's Ted Cruz.
Congratulations, you've earned yourself a slow clap. Because if I don't clap at all, you'd call me sexist. I know this act was absolutely horrendous, but guys, at the very least, it had its salvageable moments. Now I'm gonna show you what happens when your bit has absolutely zero salvageable moments. From comedian Michelle Wolf, the woman whose voice sounds like a chipmunk on crack, and whose only funny joke is the fact that she actually labels herself a comedian. You thought the first comedian was bad. Guys, Michelle Wolf is everything wrong with feminist comedians. Not funny, overtly political themes, far more focused on preaching feminism, and worst of all, the cliche man-bashing and vagina jokes. Yeah, Michelle Wolf is the complete package. Here's a clip of her stand-up act discussing Harvey Weinstein, where she resorts to man-bashing and making jokes that are so unfunny, only Hollywood hacks would ever find them amusing.
All these women are coming out to say that they've also been sexually harassed. And men are like, I can't believe this. And I'm like, I know you can't.
Ah, yes. We open with some fun man-bashing about how men are just dumb animals oblivious to women's issues. I guess this is supposed to be a joke? Maybe? I just wonder if Michelle Wolf knows that not all men are like her great uncle. I mean, look at me. I'm young, but I'm also oblivious to women's issues. Crap, that almost worked.
Men don't know anything that's going on with women. You think you understand vaginas?
Okay, so it took approximately immediately to get to a cringy vagina joke. Michelle Wolf is so bad. It's obvious she isn't following any kind of structure and is way more focused on pushing a political theme. In this case, I guess the punchline of the joke is men are dumb and vagina.
When it comes to sexual harassment, every day women are going through an obstacle course. It's like a Tough Mudder, but instead of mud, it's dicks.
So that wasn't funny at all. I mean, I get it. I get that that was supposed to be the punchline, but it wasn't funny. It was weak and predictable. I'm definitely right about this because once again, the audience only laughed for like a millisecond before just clapping and cheering. That's certainly a testament to how unfunny feminist comedians are, but for Michelle Wolf, this is all she's really going for. She's just a liberal political commentator hiding behind the faux comedian label.
My solution? Every time a guy gets caught sexually harassing someone, you don't just fire him, you have to replace him with a woman.
Well, that's a very stupid proposition, but I'm going to assume that was just a joke rather than a legitimate call to action. It's sort of gotten to the point where, like, how do I even respond to this atrocity without just repeating myself over and over again? Like, there was no real setup, no pacing, no subversion of expectations. I mean, this is so much more of a political monologue rather than a stand-up comedy act. Once again, the audience is only really applauding and not laughing. I mean, where's the joke here? That women can be CEOs?
It's a policy that I call, pull out your dick, get replaced by a chick.
Michelle Wolf, everybody!
Aha! There it is. I found the joke. Check out my laughing face. I could critique this all day, but I'm almost as tired as Michelle Wolf at this point. I guess the joke is that it rhymes? I don't know. Look, maybe just maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I am blinded by my bias against feminist comedians. No, that's not it, because this is hosted by Comedy Central, so I expect jokes to be a little better than this dad joke tier rhyming crap. At the end of the day, there are countless flaws with feminist comedians, but I think one of the largest and most obvious is that feminists just can't separate their own political viewpoints from the humor. Like everything else feminism tries to create, it becomes a watered-down version with an over-the-top feminist theme. Subtlety and clever commentary go out the window. I guess making a funny feminist joke is just really difficult. That is, unless you're making a joke at the expense of feminists. And don't get me wrong, there are countless left-leaning comedians who are hilarious, but this new feminist brand of comedy TM is so painfully cringeworthy. And look, I understand that there are serious and real issues that should be addressed, like sexual harassment in the workplace. But again, trying to mix a strong political message with a bunch of subpar jokes all under the guise of stand-up comedy really only hurts your core message at the end of the day. Well, feminist comedians, thanks for the laughs. But remember, we aren't laughing with you. We are all laughing at you.